The ancient library of Lithandril was a place of quiet reverence, its towering shelves carved from the heart of ancient trees, their bark still faintly alive with the hum of elven magic. The air was thick with the scent of parchment and the soft glow of enchanted lanterns that floated lazily between the aisles. It was here, in the Hall of Eternal Records, that lore-master Allender spent his days poring over scrolls and tomes, preserving the history of his people. Allender was old, even by elven standards. His silver hair cascaded down his back like a waterfall of moonlight, and his eyes, though still sharp, carried the weight of centuries. He had seen the rise and fall of human kingdoms, the ebb and flow of alliances, and the inevitable breaking of treaties as generations of humans forgot the promises of their ancestors. It was the way of things, a truth as old as time itself. Humans were fleeting, their memories as transient as the seasons. But today, as Allender unrolled a brittle scroll, its edges crumbling like autumn leaves, he found something that made his breath catch in his throat. The scroll was ancient, its ink faded but still legible, detailing a treaty between the elves of Lithandril and the human kingdom of Arendar. The treaty was over 1,000 years old, predating even the oldest human records. It spoke of mutual defense, shared resources, and a bond of friendship that was to last as long as the rivers flow and the stars shine. Allender's brow furrowed. He had never heard of this treaty, nor of the kingdom of Arendar. Yet the seal at the bottom of the scroll was unmistakable, a crescent moon entwined with the oak leaf, the mark of the Elven High Council. This was no forgery. Curiosity piqued, Allender began to search the archives for any mention of Arendar. Hours turned into days as he combed through dusty tomes and forgotten ledgers. Slowly, the story began to emerge. Arendar had been a small but prosperous human kingdom, nestled in the foothills of the Silver Peak Mountains. Its people were known for their craftsmanship and their deep respect for the natural world. The treaty had been signed in a time of great peril, when both elves and humans faced a common enemy, a horde of shadow creatures that threatened to engulf the land. But what truly stunned Allender was what he found next. In a ledger marked treaties and accords, he discovered a list of agreements between the elves and various human kingdoms. Many were marked with a single word, broken. But next to the treaty with Arendar, there was nothing. No mark, no note, no indication that it had ever been violated. Allender's heart raced. This was unprecedented. In all his centuries, he had never known a human kingdom to uphold a treaty for so long. Determined to uncover the truth, he sought out the oldest of the elven elders, a reclusive sage named Calanthra who lived deep in the forest. Calanthra's home was a treehouse woven into the branches of an ancient oak, its walls alive with creeping vines and glowing moss. When Allender arrived, the sage was waiting, her eyes closed as if in meditation. Without opening them, she spoke. "You have found the treaty," she said, her voice like the whisper of wind through leaves. Allender nodded, though he knew she could not see him. "I have. But how is it possible? How could the humans of Arendar have kept their word for so long?" Calanthra's eyes opened, and they were filled with a sadness that made Allender's heart ache. "Because," she said, "they did not forget. They could not forget." She gestured for him to sit, and as he did, she began to tell the story. The humans of Arendar had been unlike any other. They had a tradition, passed down from generation to generation, of storytelling. Every child was taught the history of their people, not just through dry recitations of facts, but through songs, poems, and plays. The treaty with the elves was not just a document to them, it was a living thing, a part of their identity. But that is not all, Calanthra said. The humans of Arendar had a gift, one that even we elves do not fully understand. They could see the threads of fate, the connections between past, present, and future. They knew that their actions would echo through the ages, and so they chose their path with great care. Allender listened in stunned silence. He had always believed that humans were incapable of such foresight, such wisdom. Yet here was proof that he had been wrong. "What happened to them?" he asked finally. "Why have we never heard of Arendar before?" Calanthra's gaze grew distant. "They are gone," she said softly. "A great cataclysm befell their kingdom, one that even their foresight could not prevent. But before they fell, they sent us a message, one that has been hidden in our archives until now. They wished for us to remember them, not with sorrow, but with hope, for they proved that even the shortest-lived of races can leave a legacy that endures." Allender left Calanthra's treehouse with a heavy heart but also a newfound sense of wonder. He returned to the Hall of Eternal Records and carefully restored the scroll, ensuring that the story of Arendar would not be forgotten again. And as he worked, he found himself humming an old elven tune, one that spoke of friendship, loyalty, and the enduring power of memory. For the first time in centuries, Alander felt a spark of hope. Perhaps, he thought, the humans of today could learn from the example of Arender. Perhaps they, too, could remember.